Previously on Woodbrew.
So we are super excited to build a teardrop camper from scratch.
Well guys, we're back with another video, and in the last video at the end we had well problems, but Molly and I got that sorted out by running a brand new water pipe to our house.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, if you missed that video, it actually turned out to be a pretty good video of us installing a new main water supply line, so I would go back and check it out if you haven't already. And in this week we're actually getting started back on the camper build series.
And this week we are wearing safety glasses so we don't get things in our eyeballs again. Open.
We have really high hopes for this week, so let's see what all we can get done in this first video. But as you guys know, we're actually publishing 2 videos a week, one on Wednesday and one on Sunday. So if you haven't subscribed already, I highly recommend it because we're publishing a ton of videos on this camper build. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. We're starting this video off by installing these brackets, which are going to hold the actual kitchen countertop and part of the kitchen system here. It also helps support the sort of extension on the back of this camper, but these are just getting screwed in. I didn't want to glue them in, although that would have added a lot of strength to them. For now, we're just screwing them in case we change our mind after, say, the first trip or so. We could come back and sort of switch up this rear end because this is basically the most customizable part of the camper. So it sort of leaves us some flexibility in the event that we decide we want to make some changes, whether they're minor or big. With those in place, it's time to install the kitchen countertop, which in hindsight could have been a 1/2 inch sheet instead of this 3/4 inch sheet, as well as the tolerances could have been a little bit bigger because I'm having to go back and sand these just to make them go in easier so I don't have to like beat the thing to death, which, you know, as you can see here, I still needed to do a pretty good bit of beating on it to get it to go in. However, it is a nice, tight, strong joint. I'm just simply screwing these in. Potentially we're going to have some sort of countertop surface on here, maybe like a laminate or something like that. So I'm not really concerned about these screws being, you know, on the top and visible. Worst case scenario, we'll just fill them. Now, if you've been following along this camper build, you'll know that our wall construction is a 1/4 inch inner ply that is a birch plywood. Then the interior ply is an exterior grade 3/4 inch plywood. It's a bunch of pieces dovetailed together to make a frame. That insulation goes in between those pieces. And then the outer skin is another exterior grade 1/2 inch plywood. Although all those pieces that are on the roof and on the front all need angles cut in them, which were not cut on the CNC. So we're having to go through and dry fit all of this prior to gluing these panels up so that we make sure that we get all of our angles just right. And anytime you're doing this, you know, minor little adjustments make all the difference in the world. So you have to go back and forth making tiny little cuts to get it just right. Also decided that it was time to go ahead and install the center section because it basically needed to be in to get this back and front section in, because that one is basically critical. It cannot move at all. And yeah, from there we just went ahead and glued on the inner skins as well as added in the insulation for each of our panels. Well guys, it is officially March 1st, which I guess technically means we're no longer in Fix-It February. However, the fight for our right to repair never ends, and so we're going to continue doing a giveaway this week. So all you have to do is comment down below for a chance to win an entire goodie set from iFixit. Now last week when we did a giveaway, we had some scammers end up in the comment section. So if you get any sort of messages that are from anyone other than our channel has a little check mark next to the name, it is not us. If they ask you to download anything, if they ask you to go anywhere other than email us directly to our email address, it is not us. Do not be fooled, and I'm very sorry for anyone who had to deal with that in last week's giveaway. Unfortunately, that's just the way it goes these days, but we're back doing a giveaway, so just comment down below and we will personally reach out to you. Do not fall for any of the scams. If you're unsure, you can always email us to make sure. Now in the theme of fixing stuff, this is a brand new chainsaw that the tensioning system broke on, so let's get it fixed. Now this is a perfect example of why you need yourself an iFixit kit. Here is a security bit inside this chainsaw cover. This tensioning mechanism is broke and I need to remove this screw. So let's grab our iFixit toolkit. I'll leave a link in the description below to this one. Get that screw undone. Just like that, we have a fixed chainsaw, and I'm sure you have ran into security bits like that yourself. So if you're interested in grabbing one of these iFixit toolkits, I'll leave links in the description below to where you can find one, as well as iFixit has given us a coupon code for FixItFeb, which saves you $20 off any order of $100 or more. And if you're unsure of what to get, I'll leave links in the description below to a cart that will equal about $100 that are some toolkits and things that I think that you'll find really useful around your shop. So if you're interested, check those links in the description below, and let's get back to the video. Before we could install any of our roofing panels, I went back with a flush trim outer bit and made sure everything was flush with the outer skin. That way both sides of the trailer were flush with the outside and there wasn't sort of any inconsistencies. That way when we go to glue everything up, there will be as minimal gaps as possible. When I was installing the center roof section, I accidentally broke off 2 of the support beam pieces, so I ended up just removing the entire thing, and we decided to glue it up outside of the camper. This isn't really going to affect it. Basically, the support tabs that I knocked off on accident are essentially there just to aid in assembly. They don't add really much strength, obviously, since they broke off. They're really just there to make it easier to install everything. The support beams are simply there to make sure that the plywood doesn't bow over time, and they're actually going to get some additional support later in the build, but this actually made it easier to be able to take it out of the camper and do all of this glue up on the actual workbench instead of upside down in the camper. And this actually has some wire channels run in it, as some of the other panels do, and we wanted to make sure that these basically were as solid as possible, because these glue joints on the center section are what provide the structural integrity of the entire roof, so this needed to be as good as it could possibly get. I again used the flush trim router bit to go ahead and route out the section where our fan is going to be on the top of the roof. This just lets us see exactly where those edges are so that we can go ahead and get them clamped in place and again get a good glue joint. It's time for this camper to start taking shape, so we're installing the front of the camper. You'll see that I'm actually applying some 2-part epoxy there. It comes in this really convenient caulking tube. This is a product from Total Boat, and it actually mixes 2-part in the nozzle, so you don't have to do any mixing. It's a really convenient product, and it means that we're going to have very strong, very waterproof joints here. The reason I went with epoxy on this is because we have an in-grain sort of connection there on the interior of the wall panel, and there's lots of sort of voids and things that regular wood glue just, doesn't thrive in. Epoxy is a really great solution for this, and again, it's very waterproof. So yeah, we're using epoxy, and then we're using some screws to come back in and back that up while that glue dries. Next, we started to install the center of the roof because, again, it is very vital that that is in place so that our other pieces fit correctly, and this was a struggle. It's fairly heavy and very awkward, and at the same time, we're having to put some wires through holes, and yeah, this took some back and forth, some frustration, but eventually we did get it in place, and everything was good. Now to install the front section of roof, and this is actually a pretty neat joint because it's a 45-degree angle that slides into the front of the actual front camper wall, and then another 45-degree angle that hits the back of the middle section of roof, which essentially creates sort of a locking joint so it's self-supporting. It also creates a knife edge on the interior ply, which you'll see in a little bit, and it creates a basically seamless joint on the interior and a super strong exterior joint. And again, all of this is then going to have an outer ply on top of it, which is then going to create another layer of interlocking joints, which is going to just create a super strong structure for this roof. This joint on the back section of the roof is also a really awesome joint because it slides in against the back section of our wall partition and then sits down on top of the bunk supports, and then again 45s into the middle section of roof. It just creates a super solid joint here with a lot of interlocking sections, and it also sort of makes a seamless interior as well.
Nice.
Now you'll get to check out some of these seamless joints on the interior. You can see on that front wall that 45 into that front section essentially creates a knife edge and makes a perfect joint. And this thing is looking freaking sweet. Well guys, we didn't get as much done as we thought we would in this video. However, there was a lot of visual change, and there was a lot of glue ups and things that we had to do, obviously, that ended up taking a bit more time than we thought. However, basically all of the roof panels are on, and now we have to do the outer skins across everything, which you'll see in the next video. And this thing's gonna really start taking shape and looking like a finished camper as we start getting the doors installed and all of those sorts of things. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe because we have 2 videos coming out every single week on this camper build, and you're not gonna wanna miss them because this thing is gonna be freaking sweet when it's done. Freaking sweet, brother, because I haven't been this fired up about a project in a long time, so I hope you guys are enjoying this. There's just been so much engineering and pre-thought, forethought. There's been so much design work and just things behind the scenes that has really, been fun for me. So seeing it all come together has been really awesome. Thank you, iFixit, for continuing to support our channel and sponsoring this video. Again, guys, go check out their stuff. There's links in the description below, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.